This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Welcome to a dazzling new dawn of Africa. The clock has struck midnight and 2026 is here, bursting with unstoppable hope, boundless joy, and a brilliant future ahead for us, for Africa, and for the entire world. Happy New Year 2026 from your friends at Pulse of Africa News. We are thrilled to dive into this electrifying year with you, wishing every viewer health, overflowing joy, and unstoppable prosperity. Buckle up as we deliver the hottest updates and most inspiring stories straight from day one of this epic new chapter. Let's start with U.S. judge blocks South Sudan deportations. Hundreds of people from South Sudan may be able to live and work in the United States legally, while a federal judge weighs whether President Donald Trump's move to revoke temporary protected status for immigrants from the East African country was illegal. The termination was set to take effect on January 6, 2026, at which point the roughly 300 South Sudanese nationals living and working in the U.S. under the program or who otherwise have pending applications would be eligible for deportation. Civil rights groups sued the Department of Homeland Security in late December, writing in a complaint that the change violated administrative procedure and was unconstitutional because it aimed to significantly reduce the number of non-white and non-European immigrants in the United States on the basis of race. The court order written by U.S. District Judge Angel Kelly in Massachusetts temporarily bars the federal government from initiating deportation while the final decision is pending. As Algeria concludes its term on the United Nations Security Council, Ambassador Ammar Benjama, Algeria's permanent representative to the UN, has affirmed the nation has fulfilled its responsibilities. Algeria's term on the Security Council officially ends on December 31st, 2025. In a statement released, Ambassador Benjama emphasized the international community's crucial role in addressing global hotspots and preventing the escalation of conflicts through just and sustainable political solutions. The ambassador highlighted Algeria's active engagement in addressing key issues on the Security Council's agenda, including conflicts in Africa, the Middle East, and other regions. He underscored the importance of finding comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of instability and promote long-term peace and development. He is particularly grateful for the support that non-African countries provide in advancing African causes on the Security Council.
Now, it would be remiss of me to end without paying tribute to my A3 Plus colleagues. In particular, I'd like to pay tribute to the colleagues coming from a non-African country, colleagues which nonetheless held on throughout the mandate and committed themselves to staunchly defending African causes here on this council.
The challenges facing the world today are complex and multifaceted, Ambassador Benjama noted. It's imperative that the international community works together in a spirit of cooperation and solidarity to overcome these challenges and build a more just and peaceful world for all.
Algeria is preparing to leave the council with a feeling of having accomplished its duty. I would like to tell my colleagues, elected members of this council, but my message also goes out to those who will be coming onto the council. My message is this: persevere. Persevere and always attempt to work together with all council members, permanent members and elected members alike. And all this in the pursuit of our common objective. It might be a weakness, but I do believe it. Our objective being the preservation of international peace and security. And I would also like to add that this is something that's particularly pertinent for elected members.
Algeria's term on the Security Council officially ends on December 31st, 2025. The nation will continue to actively participate in UN activities and work towards achieving its goals of peace, security, and sustainable development. Kenya has signed a 40 billion Kenyan shilling contract for the construction of the Galana Kulalu Dam, a project set to transform food security, irrigation in Tana River and Kilifi countries. The dam will irrigate up to 300,000 acres, marking a significant shift from rain-fed farming to large-scale reliable irrigation. The agreement signed in Nairobi between the National Irrigation Authority and China Communications Construction Company, Kenya Limited, covers engineering, construction and financing of the dam and its irrigation water conveyance system. Once completed, the dam will hold 305 million cubic meters of water and deliver an annual 1 billion cubic meters, while also supplying safe drinking water to 70,000 households, enhancing health and local living conditions. The project is joint investment between governments of Kenya and the UAE and China Communications Construction Company, Kenya Limited. Kenya's contribution comes from the National Infrastructure Fund, with returns supported by Water Purchase Agreement framework. The project has the potential to increase agricultural productivity, stabilize food prices, reduce imports, expand exports, create jobs for young people, and promote inclusive economic growth.
New roads, hotels, and services are welcoming visitors to Ethiopia's historic sites and natural wonders. Tourism creates jobs and celebrates our culture. Investing in visitors invests in our future.
Africa's health priorities must remain central to global health financing and partnership. Africa CDC Deputy Director General Dr. Raji Tajuddin said, calling for a fundamental shift in how global health initiatives operate across the continent. In an exclusive interview with the Pulse of Africa, Dr. Raji acknowledged that initiatives such as the Global Fund, Gavi, and the Global Financing Facility have played a significant role in supporting African countries. However, he noted that their support has often been shaped by donor-driven priorities rather than the specific needs of member states.
What Lusaka Agenda wants to do is to ensure that our member state priorities remain the center of whatever support that is coming, and also for the global health initiatives to align around 5 key shifts. And these shifts include health financing, in such a way that domestic resources, for health becomes the main source of financing health. In addition to that, innovative financing and blended financing. We're also looking at primary health care. Lusaka Agenda wants to see a primary health care that is sustainably financed, that is epidemic ready and climate resilient. We also want to see local manufacturing, of health products, vaccines, therapeutic, diagnostics, in such a way that our local manufacturers become where member states go and procure their needs.
The Lusaka Agenda was launched on Universal Health Coverage Day. tells December 2023 as a continental framework to guide coordinated action towards sustainability and domestically financed health systems and universal access to healthcare in Africa. It was officially endorsed by the African Union heads of state and government in February 2024. Dr. Raji said the agenda addresses long-standing challenges in Africa's engagement with the global health system, including fragmented and siloed support from international institutions.
Number one is to reform the global health architecture, because we have seen what is happening in terms of development assistance, the official development assistance. We've seen what is happening in terms of debt servicing obligations of our member states that is really and truly on the increase. We have seen so many fragmented and silo approach in terms of support coming from the global health institutions, when it comes to supporting Africa. So we really need to reform the global health architecture in such a way that the national priorities, our member state priorities, become the rallying point of whatever support. And the coordination of that should be at the continental level by Africa CDC.
To ensure results, Africa CDC and its partners are developing monitoring and accountability framework along with a public scorecard to track progress in implementing the Lusaka agenda. Shifting to business news. Ghana's government has paid a $709 million Eurobond obligation ahead of its due date. The Ministry of Finance announced on December 31, 2025. Finance Minister Dr. Kassel Atoforsen said the early settlement completed on December 30 using government cash reserves is a part of efforts to stabilize the economy and strengthen public debt management. The payment raises Ghana's total Eurobond service in 2025 to $1.4 billion under the ongoing debt restructuring program and underscores improved liquidity and fiscal discipline. The bonds were paid in three tranches of $349.52 million and $709 million. Dr. Forsen said the early repayment reflects Ghana's credibility as a sovereign borrower and signals steps to rebuild investor confidence through clear, orderly debt servicing. He added that the government will intensify reforms in domestic revenue mobilization, public financial management, and debt management while continuing to fortify fiscal buffers to support sustainable national development. President Bola Tinubu has announced that Nigeria will begin enforcing new tax laws from January 1st, dismissing criticism over discrepancies between the gazetted text and the version approved by lawmakers. He said all recently enacted tax reforms, including provisions effective from June 26, 2025, will proceed as planned. Tinubu described the reforms as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build a fair, competitive, and resilient fiscal system. The rollout has sparked controversy, with opposition lawmakers alleging the gazetted laws contain provisions not approved by Parliament, raising constitutional concerns. Tinubu said there is no basis to halt the process, urged public and business support, and pledged to uphold due process while working with lawmakers to address concerns during implementation. Finally, sports news. Ivory Coast coach Emerence Faye has voiced support for holding the African Cup of Nations every 4 years instead of 2, saying it could benefit football development across the continent. Faye suggested introducing an annual African Nations League to give teams regular competitive matches, helping smaller nations improve while keeping top teams sharp. He admitted defending the AFCON title is tough, noting that Ivory Coast faces extra pressure as reigning champions, but the team is motivated and already through to the last 16 in Morocco with a final group game against Gabon. The tournament has taken place every 2 years since 1968, with a 1-year gap between the 2012 and 2013 edition, but it will switch to a 4-year cycle after the 2027 AFCON in East Africa and a 2028 edition. Thank you for joining us on Pulse of Africa News. From all of us, we wish you a joyful, healthy, and prosperous 2026. Stay tuned for more updates and stories shaping the year ahead. Goodbye.